Hello, America. I'm Camille Chandler, and this is Qualitative Listening. Today's episode, I wanted to say we want an inverted yield curve. What is the yield curve, you may ask? I will go over the three types of yield curves: positive, flattened, and inverted. Let's start with the most common: positive. Yield curves typically start with shorter maturities on the left with longer maturities on the right. And this is the most common because investors demand more compensation for greater risk of tying up their money for longer periods. This is known as term premium. Locking up money for a longer period of time has an opportunity cost. The positive yield curve is often observed economic expansion. Long-term bonds can have less liquidity. Bonds with long maturities and low coupons have the longest durations and are more sensitive to interest rate changes. Now, let's go over a flat yield curve. A flat yield curve occurs when short-term and long-term interest rates are roughly equal. This can happen when the economy is transitioning between expansion and contraction. So why does a flat yield curve occur? Because of economic uncertainty. When the economy is uncertain or deteriorating, short-term and long-term yields converge. Central bank intervention is also another reason for a flat yield curve. When central banks raise interest rates to slow economic growth, short-term rates rise while long-term rates fall. In a flat yield curve, investors get the same return on short-term and long-term investments, so there is no benefit to holding long-term. We've discussed positive and we've discussed flat. Now, let's get to my favorite, inverted. Picture a normal yield curve rising from left to right, while an inverted yield curve is the opposite. Short-term bonds have higher yields than longer-term bonds. This occurs when short-term interest rates are higher than long-term interest rates. It can signal investors are pessimistic about the economy and may indicate a recession. Why does it happen? Because of anticipated rate cuts, low inflation, and the demand for higher yields. Inverted yield curves have historically preceded every U.S. recession since the 1970s. So how do you respond to an inverted yield curve? By diversifying your portfolio. That's all I have for this episode, folks. Thanks for listening to Qualitative Listening.